Hello everyone. I think it was long back we have practiced in SAP system. In last 3 or 4 videos we have discussed about enterprise structure, document splitting, and how that it works and all. But after a long, after 2-3 videos, we are doing the configuration again. So I thought of actually keep on practicing comparing with ECC and S4 HANA. So it will be easy for us to figure out what are actual developments in SAP S4 HANA. So just for a few minutes we will again configure the enterprise structure. So and again just we will compare that with ECC system if there are any changes in enterprise structure, and we will move on with our configuration. So let us start our configuration. So I think with S4 HANA few Fiori apps also introduced. I think you might have heard about the apps of Fiori. For many of the business processes there are apps, Fiori apps. We will, if required, we will discuss in detail what actually is Fiori and what are the Fiori apps. We will discuss in coming sessions. So normally in Fiori apps it is mainly used by end users. So as an FICO consultant, we will most of the configuration we will be doing in SPRO path, through SPRO path. So let us now see the SPRO screen. If we see the SPRO screen, we can see there is lot of difference between the ECC screen and SPRO screen. You can see the conversion of accounting to SAP S4 HANA. Even in the newer versions we can see migration to SAP S4 HANA Finance. But it will be of same thing. All the activities below this will be like preparation steps, converting from ECC to SAP S4 HANA. So let us see how it looks in ECC. So this is ECC system. If you see the ECC screen, in ECC the SPRO screen, you don't see that conversion to accounting to SAP S4 HANA. So you don't see that. You can see is directly SAP NetWeaver Enterprise Structure class cross application components. And you can see here it is activate business functions, but in the SAP NetWeaver above we can see it is conversion of accounting to SAP S4 HANA. So because we need to prepare the pre-preparation steps to convert from ECC to S4 HANA. This is one of the main difference. And as we discussed in our previous videos, in enterprise structure related to company code, company, all these and organizational units, like as discussed in our previous videos, we know that there is no much of difference in organizational units when compared to ECC and in S/4HANA. But few of the things when we are doing configuration in global settings, we discussed that in the chart of accounts there is one setting where we select whether the cost elements needs to be created automatically or manually. That was totally removed because the cost element and GL account was both merged into one. And one more difference we have discussed in our previous videos are posting period variant. In posting period variant, means like in open and close posting periods, we have seen period, one column period 3 was added. That is because now FI and CO are both are integrated. So whenever we post something in CO, that needs to be immediately posted into FIs. So period 3 is used for that purpose. Let us see, is there any changes in the screen which we see in SAP S/4HANA and ECC. Let us first check how the enterprise structure looks like. So there are these options, definition, mainly the definition assignment, and let us see here in ECC, in enterprise structure, it is same, and in definition we can see financial accounting, controlling, logistics. Let us see if there is any difference in S/4HANA. So in definition, logistics, sales and distribution, plant maintenance, human resource management. So you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. So I don't think there is any difference. Okay, actually in enterprise structure there is no much difference between ECC and SAP S/4HANA. So as we already discussed, the changes in financial accounting global settings, it is like a chart of accounts and in posting period variant. We can see the difference and we already discussed it in our previous videos. So let us move on to a quick configuration of the basic requirements, so we can further move on to our processes. So let us define. Okay, let us once check if there is anything. So we can see here financial accounting new, because in ECC using what is that, new GL is optional, but in SAP S/4HANA new GL is mandatory. So we don't see any financial accounting new in SAP S/4HANA. If we see here, just minimize this and see, we can see only financial accounting. There will not be any financial accounting new, because in HANA, SAP S/4HANA, it was by default it is new GL. There is no classic GL in SAP S/4HANA. Okay, now let us move on to our configuration. So now let us create the company code for our practice. Just we can even check with even easy. There are no much changes while creating company code. Just we will do it fast. As we are practicing on company code, we will create it as S4 HANA and company name is Simple Finance Training, and these are the basic details, and let us save it. So it is just we will give the mandatory fields country IN. So you can see this I have discussed in my previous videos also. This drop down is enabled in HANA, not in ECC. Before it was not there, the pop-up. Okay. And save it. And we have created the. So I want to show you that drop down is not available in ECC. Let us see when we enter some data in the fields. There is a pop-up displayed with the data where we can select from the drop down. But if you see here, you can see the screen is totally different. The ECC screen looks like this, but when you see SAP screen was totally different. See, it was like display was totally changed. Details, new entries, copy as it was like this in S4 HANA, but in ECC it was with icons. So this is ECC screen, and the before one which I have shown is HANA screen. So if we click on new entries, and if the currency is the C, nothing is dropping down here. But when we, this is a new feature added in HANA system. So if you do the same in HANA, see, if it is new entries and currency is the mandatory, and if you type INR, it will try to drop down the information. Okay, this is one just I want to show. And so before creating controlling area, we need to create fiscal year variant and posting period variant. So if you see, if you want to create controlling area, there are few prerequisites. Let us go back and see controlling area. So let us cancel this and let us see. So all these organizational elements we are not creating now, just we need company code. Whenever required, we can create all the organizational elements, but controlling area is important. But before proceeding on to create controlling area, we have to create if you click on new entries, you can see we have to create chart of accounts and fiscal year variant, which is mandatory. So let us first create fiscal year variant and chart of accounts, and then we will be back to our configuration to create controlling area. Maybe people who watched my previous videos might think like all these topics were discussed in our previous videos, why again she was are discussing here. Just to give you overview on that, in this video I was comparing both ECC and S4 HANA. Before I was just my previous videos were covered only on S4 HANA, but I thought it might be a good idea when I compare with it might be a good idea comparing both ECC and S4 HANA. Just what I have shown just now, like the drop down option, where the information we can see when we enter a single letter, we can see the options available to select, like that. Just I want to show how it was not there in ECC and how it is now, how it was available in S4 HANA. The same way in master, we try to create chart of accounts. There is one option which is available in ECC but not in S4 HANA. So all these small things I just want to capture and show you in this practice, so we will clearly understand what is the difference in S4 HANA. So let us now create chart of accounts. So even chart of accounts we will S4 HA. Let us keep caps lock S4 HA, S4 HANA, and description chart of accounts for chart of accounts for S4 HA. So maintenance language is English. And do you know the length of GL account number? So what is the maximum length of GL account number? It is 10 digits. So even it is a certificate question where they will ask what is the maximum length of GL account number. So it is actually 10, but normally many of the companies use it as 6 digits, but here we will take it as 4 digits. And here we can see the difference. There is one more selection here in ECC, but it is not available in S4 HANA. Let us see what actually it is. So because of this reason I was just showing the different screens, but let us do it fast. Don't want to waste much of the time. So let us see what is the field missing in S4 HANA. So general ledger accounting, GL account, oh sorry, it's not okay, the path will be little bit different. Yeah, GL account, master data, preparations, edit, chart of accounts list. So if we see, we have an integration part where we have an manual creation of cost elements. This section is missing in S/4HANA. So actually I already discussed in detail in my previous videos. If someone want to know what actually it is, you can check my chart of accounts video. Just it will be boring for the viewers who already watched my videos. So okay, so that is actually missing. Okay, let me discuss once again what actually the importance of this field. So we know that when we create chart of accounts in ECC, actually the FI and CO are different components. So when we post to a GL account in FI, it only posts to FI. If it want to post in CO, definitely a cost element is required. So normally what kind of postings will be transferred to CO? It is in profit and loss. Profit and loss related transactions will be transferred to CO. So whenever we create a profit and loss account GL in ECC, what will happen? It will, here we will have a selection whether when we are creating a GL, profit and loss account GL, here we specify whether a cost element needs to be created automatically or manually. So if we select it as automatic, in the background it will create this cost element for that GL. So this is the main purpose of this field. So if we see the GL account creation screen in ECC, we can see the tab edit cost element. So to change any information we use the edit cost element, or if we even want to create the cost element, we will use the same button. So this is how we create or change the cost element in ECC. But now the question arises, why this field is not available in S/4HANA? Then how the cost element is handled in S/4HANA? Cost element creation is handled in S/4HANA. Okay, let us see that. So as discussed earlier in our previous videos, we know that now FI and CO are integrated together. That means FI and CO components are merged. So before, the master data for FI is GL and the master data for CO is cost element. But now in S/4HANA, the master data is GL. This GL is even considered as master data for controlling. Whatever you post to GL account, the same will be posted to controlling account. So in S/4HANA they are not creating a separate cost element. The GL itself is treated as master data for FI and the same will be for CO, because both the components are merged together in. So if we see in ECC, the GL account is classified as profit and loss account or balance sheet account. So only for profit and loss accounts we can create the cost elements. We cannot create cost elements for balance sheet accounts. So if we check, so there are only the GL account is classified into only these two things. One is balance sheet or other is profit and loss account. If we check in S4 HANA, there is no profit and loss account or balance sheet. It is GL account type. So it is, one is balance sheet, and profit and loss account is divided into two categories again: non-operating expense or income, primary costs or revenue, and secondary cost elements is classified as secondary costs. I have discussed this in detail in one of my videos. Like each and every field of GL account I have explained, that is like detailed analysis of GL account. So you can check that video. So non-operating expense and primary costs or revenue. So now in SAP S4 HANA, the GL account type is classified in. So let us proceed creating our chart of accounts and assign it to our company code. So we are here, and let us now don't make our process complex by creating the group chart of account. Just these few things I have already covered in my previous videos. Just now we save it. So now let us assign chart of accounts to company code. So click on assign company code to chart of accounts. So S4 HA, and even chart of accounts is this, and save it. If you see, the save button will be there in ECC, but it was totally changed and it is down here. So normally if we ask how many chart of accounts we can assign for a company code, normally we say it's 3. One is operative chart of accounts, group chart of accounts, and country chart of accounts. Okay, now let us move on to, I have saved it, and let us move on to creating account group. So new entries, chart of accounts, account group, balance sheet. We will create account group of balance sheet. So let us start liabilities accounts with 1000 and asset accounts with 2000. So we end with 2999, and profit and loss accounts P and L, profit and loss, and for expenses 3000, and for revenues, 3000 for expense something. So whatever we can use it. So for revenues we will have different series 4000, and we need one more count group for secondary costs. So is for HANA and secondary costs. Secondary costs will be 9000 to 999. So this is the some formatting which we use. So to identify, by just looking at the GL number we can identify what kind of GL account it is. So and save it. So while creating the GL account, in addition to what kind of account, GL account type, we will give in which account group it is available. So now let us see and define retained earnings account. Do you know what actually is the retained earnings account? So S4HA, and we will specify our chart of accounts, and here we will give here we will specify what is the P&L loss statement account and what is the GL account assigned to it. So why do we use retained earnings account? Even this I explained in my previous videos, just we will have an overview of it. So retained earnings account, so every year there will be many balances in the GL accounts. So normally the balances in the balance sheet will be carry forward to the next year. It might be debtors, creditors, assets, liabilities, tax, contingencies, everything, depreciations, whatever it might be in balance sheet. Depreciation is for a profit and loss account. Whatever is there in the balance sheet will be carried forward to the next year. But what about profit and loss account? So through profit and loss account we will transfer only whether this year from this profit and loss account whether we are in profit or in loss. So we will just carry forward only the final balance from the profit and loss account. It is not required that to capture all the expenses which was happened in the last year. Just we need to have only the balance of it. So for that purpose we will use this retained earnings account. Retained earnings account will be an asset. Okay, this is the purpose, and normally we use X, and account number we can give it later. Even if we can give it later, just if we save it will give a warning message and we can save it just pressing an enter. But when we perform the carry forward balances, definitely it will give an error message, so we need to correct this correct the error message by updating the GL in this retained earnings account. We will continue further configuration steps in coming up sessions. Thank you so much.